the HubSpot reporting webinar. I'm Benjamin Choi, Senior Marketing Operations Lead at Argon Digital, and I'd like to give an introduction to Kevin Dice with HubSpot. Could you give us an introduction, Kevin?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, work over at HubSpot. Been here for 4 years now. I work in the channel account management space, so I help to support partners like Argon Digital and making sure that strategies for implementing HubSpot go off without a hitch. Yeah, so that's pretty much my role here.
Awesome. Thanks again for joining us, Kevin.
Yep.
And I'd like to give a little bit of an intro to this webinar, HubSpot reporting, and why we've sort of come up with this 30 minutes to give you guys some information and hopefully some good takeaways. As a marketing operations professional and also all the way up to marketing exec, your questions and your activities within marketing aren't really always cut and dry, as in, hey, go create X landing page, hey, go create this ad. It's usually going to be more of a kind of esoteric question. Some marketing exec will come up to you and say, hey, how well are our campaigns doing from this time frame to this time frame? Or they'll say, hey, we've spent X amount of revenue. How much of that can we attribute to the marketing ads and the marketing emails that we've been doing? So with that approach, we wanted to frame these questions and give you the technology and the tools to answer those questions within your day-to-day. And so what are the steps that you want to do to make sure that reporting is in place? Requirements gathering. Here at Argon Digital, and it's HubSpot as well, I'm sure, the requirements gathering portion of it, when you select your technology and when you're implementing your reporting, is really, really critical. So thoughtful communication is always important. You want to be asking the right questions and making sure that your reporting is solid, as well as your technology. And the tools you select, like HubSpot, whatever marketing automation tool you use, we use HubSpot, is extremely important. So you want to make sure that your tool can actually function to answer those questions that you're having on a day-to-day basis within your marketing. And also, of course, having a good team and a system in place can support that reporting. So without further ado, I just want to give a little bit of a background to some of the questions that we're going to be going over today. One of them is going to be about what was our best marketing campaign from last year. So if you have that question from, let's say, a marketing exec or someone on your team, you're going to be wanting to ensure, one, you're tracking the campaigns you're running and having a tool, let's say like HubSpot Campaign Based Reporting, to accurately measure each contact in each campaign as you're sending them out to your lists or to your marketing base. Another question that we're going to cover is, we've spent 20,000 so far this quarter and we've made 40,000 in revenue. How much of that can we attribute to ads? And ad reporting through HubSpot or any other marketing automation tool can answer that question. And the third and final question is, overall, how well is our marketing engine functioning? You're going to be looking at each customer is going to go from lead to MQL to SQL to customer, or however well you define your marketing funnel, and you want to be tracking those from each stage through, and your marketing automation should report on those steps as well too. So you looking at that, we're going to be using HubSpot's multi-touch attribution. Sweet. So now that we have the lay of the land, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our first question, which is hopefully you've heard this before or have had that question internally, and you're going to be asking, what was our best marketing campaign from last year? And so HubSpot's got a really good campaign tool, and leveraging this on everything you do within HubSpot can always benefit you. And so you create your own campaigns and designate your revenue and your activities to that campaign. And that way you can track all the activities from each customer as they interact with your landing pages, your emails, and your ads as well too. And so, Kevin, I'm sure you're familiar with this view, right? The specific campaign view.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I love about the campaigns tool here is just the ability to allocate specific assets to that particular campaign. You're going to be creating multiple landing pages. You're going to be creating multiple blogs, potentially multiple emails. You can look at that at a high level, but to really drill it down into that specific campaign to see what's working and not working, that's where I see the biggest benefit of the campaigns tool.
Mm-hmm. And like you're saying, drilling down specifically into each campaign. From here, we have a small subset of a campaign that we've run for a conference that we had, and we had attended that conference. So within this, you can see at this overview section, I want to highlight 3 sessions. So those are 3 sessions from contacts within our database who've been touched by this campaign. And that could be anything from an email page view, a landing page view, or they've come in directly from an ad. And then the new contacts first touch, this portion means that a new contact has been created from your campaign. So that could probably refer to something like a landing page, right, Kevin? You've created a landing page for your campaign, for your conference, and someone new has signed up through this landing page. And another important thing here is the influence contacts, 71. So that's tracking how many people within your database have interacted with your campaign activities. And that gives you a direct count there. And then close deals. So let's say Kevin came into our landing page, right, as a new contact first touch. He liked our landing page so much in our HubSpot reporting that he signed a deal with us. You would see that reflected right here in the campaign menu as well too. So this is very, very critical for that overarching question. Hey, what was our best marketing campaign from last year? Well, if you're tracking it and you've set up these safeguards in place for each campaign, you can go down, like Kevin is saying, down to the nitty-gritty of each campaign and reflect that on your marketing efforts too. Awesome. Well, Kevin, for ad reporting and multi-touch, I'm going to send it over to you real quick.
Cool. Yeah, let me go ahead and share here.
And while Kevin's sharing that, I'd like to reiterate the question that ad reporting through HubSpot is going to answer. And so as a general, let's say a marketing executive is going to ask you, hey, we've spent 20,000 so far this year, or we've spent 20,000 so far over X amount of time frame. How much did we make in revenue? And here's the really, really great view from the ad reporting dashboard that I think, Kevin, you can talk to as well too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, ads, that's the tip of the iceberg for a lot of different campaigns, being able to generate and get more interest to get you to those landing pages, to get you further down the funnel, starting to talk to sales, looking at other content that you might have created. And you can get a lot of this information directly from the individual ad platforms of LinkedIn, Facebook, AdWords, all of that. But what you don't get to see, they'll give you the idea of like, how many clicks did you get? Did you get somebody to get a session on your website? And that's some of the stuff you're seeing here on the left. By having a fully integrated system like HubSpot, where you can see, we started here with this ad, then they went to these different areas, and then ultimately became a customer, you're able to actually get a return on investment of that ad, not just an idea of how many sessions you're getting to the site or how many contacts you're getting, but ultimately how much revenue has come to you from that ad campaign. So in this case, what we're looking at is that there has been, from this ad campaign, 2 customers that resulted from the ad. They came initially from the ad, and then this is the revenue that came from that, the amount that was spent particularly on that specific ad. And then you get your return on investment calculated based on that. You can start to drill in and see more information on what's the cost per customer, cost per click, all of that. It's all going to be right there for you in the ad reporting. Mm-hmm. So that's the start of a lot of contacts that you're going to be able to get into the database. But there are, as I've alluded to, and as Ben was showing in the campaigns tool, there's a number of other touch points that can happen along the way. And there's a good amount of work that's done by marketing teams to get the contact to the point where we're ready to hand it off to sales. Or maybe there's even more marketing efforts that are occurring in conjunction with sales conversations. Mm-hmm. And those can be things like landing pages, blogs that are created, email marketing campaigns, calls to action that you've created, forms that are on the website. All of those are a piece to the puzzle in getting a customer on board. You know, as a marketer, Ben, have you run into the situation where you're trying to really figure out, okay, we put all of this effort in, we're paying a marketer to create all of these different aspects of our website and our email campaigns, but how do we appropriately say if that's working or not working? Is that something that you've come across?
Yeah, quite frequently. And like you're saying, there's so many things that you're doing in marketing on a day-to-day basis. You're running ads, you're making sure that the CTO is good, you know, on your emails, you're making sure that the CTR is good throughout your marketing campaigns. And then you're creating landing pages, like you said, all of these things that you're doing day in and day out, and you're making sure that all of them are with good SEO, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, it's really hard to put that into perspective if you don't track your customers as they interact with each piece of your content and move throughout that funnel. So one great thing that HubSpot does is that multi-touch attribution portion of it, so that you can assign your value of the contact to each marketing step that they've interacted with. And even down to, like, let's say, like, you can theoretically say a landing page has made me X amount of money. And so I can track the ROI that Ben has spent 8 hours a day creating landing pages, and it's given us X amount of revenue. So you can even boil it down to the ROI of each activity, and it's just a really great tool and a strong tool that we leverage a lot.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate you giving the context there. And this is just a little tease. I think, Ben, you're going to send this out to all the attendees after the call here today, but we do have an ebook that really walks through this multi-touch revenue attribution portion. So that's not historically something that everybody is familiar with. Just to give a use case, I'm not going to show you the whole ebook here. Don't want to spoil the entire surprise, but when we're talking about multi-touch attribution, a lot of the credit, like the glory, goes to, okay, we created this ad and we know that that's where they originated. And then also the salesperson, they're the ones that close the deal. So then kind of you just get those two areas where all the credit is given a lot of times, but there's a lot that happens in between. So you've got your first interaction in this example. They go to a landing page and they fill out a form. They go to another website page, visit another landing page, or at this point is when they fill out the form. They bounced off, they went back and forth, but we're tracking them all the way along here. And then we can actually backfill this data to see what happened before we got that form fill to occur. Annika is continuing through, clicks a call to action in an email that was automatically sent out based on them filling out that form, taken to another landing page, sees what she likes, fills out a form to talk to sales. Sales takes over there, a deal is created. That's a big part of what happens along the way once you get to that deal created phase. And then here, the sales reps going back and forth, their sales emails going back and forth, ultimately they become a closed one. And then at that point, once they're a closed one customer, we're able to know how much money came from that. And then each of these steps along the way should be given some form of attribution for being part of the puzzle as how they became a customer, because they were. Right? If somebody had not created that landing page, then you miss a part of this, and ultimately it does not become a customer.
And real quick before you run through the rest of this ebook, Kevin, that portion of it is really important too, because prior to, let's say, marketing automation tools that existed, or prior to, let's say, you don't have a HubSpot, or you have something that has that connectivity between your ad platform, your landing pages, and your deals section of your CRM and your sales tools, that would have to be an entirely manual process, because you'd be having to go into Facebook first, pull your data from there, pull the ROI there. You'd have to go into landing pages to make sure that that one person maybe even interacted with that. You'd have to go back to your CRM. It'd be a whole mess, right? So having one platform, and this goes back to the requirements portion and the correct question portion of the webinar, which is making sure that if you have these use cases and you have these questions about your business, you think ahead and you make sure you choose the tool that's right for your business, so you can have these multi-touch attribution steps in place for your business.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Taking that step back, figuring out where to start, and getting the right solution in place is a huge part of this. So I want to show you actually in HubSpot how this works, and just give you an example. We're going to go all the way very granular down to a contact record. So within HubSpot, very similar to any CRM that you would see, but you're getting more details because of the marketing focus center of how HubSpot works as a CRM. And I'm going to start at the bottom here. This activity feed in the middle, it's sort of like your Facebook feed or something like that of this client or prospect becoming a customer and their journey to get there. And you can see at the bottom, okay, this is how this was created. Mark Recco is our prospect here, and they filled out a form on this website page on our website. And then at that point, automatically we're updating the lifecycle stage. Then the call to action is clicked on. Mark went back a few minutes later and checked out the home page for our website. At that point, Mark started a live chat conversation. We've got all of that right here that we can go back in detail. And then from a sales perspective, all of a sudden, okay, I've got a new inquiry. I go as a salesperson and I leave a voicemail, and that's all logged right here as well. Automatic email goes out from me as a follow-up. It looks like automatically 15 minutes after they did something. A deal is created, and then quote sent. You can see how this works, and every single time that Mark would go back and forth, interact with the website page, anytime that I take an action here, all of that is going in to this end reporting that's going to occur with all of these actions. Every time a landing page is visited, you're able to go back and report on what worked and what didn't work. And then that's what you're going to see once we start going into the reporting over here. So with this reporting, you can see we're looking at specific assets that marketers have worked on. And ultimately, at the end of the day, how much dollar value can we attribute to that? So in this case, we're looking at all landing pages, all other website pages, all marketing emails, and where that happened to fall in the process of making a purchase. So we can see all of that information here. We go down here and we can start to see more specifics on these landing pages based on the type of multi-touch attribution that you're trying to report back on. So there's a few different ways to look at multi-touch revenue attribution and how to report on it. You can talk about it in a linear fashion where everything is going to be given credit equally. So if there's 10 customer touch points, meaning they visited one landing page, they visited a blog, they visited they got 3 marketing emails that they opened all of them, and then they had 5 calls with the sales rep. Each one of those is going to get 10% of the credit for that ultimate dollar value, and that's what we call a linear path. But there's other ways to go about reporting on that too.
Yeah, and that portion that Kevin's talking about is really important because each business is probably going to have their own, let's say, way of dealing with the SQL portion of it. So let's say your sales funnel is very heavily invested and a lot of dollars and hours are spent on that sales portion and maybe less so on the marketing. You probably wouldn't really want a linear multi-touch attribution model there, right? You maybe want something that gives more to the last touch and assigns more dollar value there. So what's right for your business is probably going to be the multi-touch attribution portion that you're going to choose for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why there's these different options on how you want to view this data. And it's important to look at them in multiple different ways sometimes. And that's why you saw the 2 graphs there. But time decay is exactly what you were talking about. Give more credit to the most recent interactions. If you want something that is giving a lot of credit to the initial conversion, how they first became a contact for you, and then the last one, when they became a closed won customer, something like U-shaped is perfect for that, where you're getting 40% of the credit is based on the first interaction, 40% is based on the last interaction, and 20% spread equally in between. And then there's just all these different types of models. We don't have to go into each one. Just know that HubSpot gives you the ability to report on it in the way that makes the most sense to you. And having those different milestones in between of saying deal creation or whatever it might be, you can choose that and then have that be part of the attribution model you choose.
And like we said, we're going to offer this to every attendee of the webinar free of charge. So thanks again for that, Kevin. Appreciate that from the HubSpot end.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So yeah, just jumping back in here, you can see this. You can drill down into this even further. So if I were to click here on landing page, it's going to take me and show me the different landing pages that we're getting attribution for. Maybe we want to click in and get more information specifically on this landing page and how it's performing versus all landing pages across the realm. I click on that, and then I'm going to be able to see more details on that particular landing page and the attribution that's coming specific to that. So for this landing page here, you can see I can go and click to it, check out what the landing page is all about. And then we've got our attributed revenue that is coming from 2 deals that have been closed. I could click in and see even further what those deals are and get super granular with it. And then see like what was the dollar value for each of the deals that was associated. I could click in on that as well. And then finally, you can see here, okay, we can see asset title, but we've got all of these contacts that are related to this. If I want to drill in further and see, okay, exactly how did Adeline end up becoming a customer, I can go and I can click in and see, similar to what we did for Mark, just click right there, go and check this out. And then I can go through this entire history of what happened along the way. Looks like it's a fake email address. That's why we're getting these pink banners there as on deliverables. But you can see that we can see everything that happened along the way. And this is ultimately how you get to that finalized portion of being able to report back on what exactly happened, and you're compiling every single interaction from every contact that has come across any piece of content, and really giving marketers their due on getting clients through to the finish line. Whereas, maybe historically that's more saved for sales, that celebration, but marketing did their part too, right?
Yeah. And just wanted to stress that this view that Kevin's showing is pretty amazing if you think about it. Like Kevin was saying, marketers maybe necessarily in the past wouldn't have been able to track to this level of granularity the touch points that marketing is having with somebody before they even reach sales, right? Somebody who hit that landing page that Kevin is showing could have interacted with an email, could have interacted with ads before, but each step through the process is prior to the dawn of technology for the marketer was largely obscure and things that we didn't know. We could just see that a new person has hit the website and they are interested in talking to us, and then sales will take that and go down the SQL pipeline. But being able to track with whatever revenue model that you decide on for your business each step to the way can really hone in your ROI and give you lots of insight into where you should be spending money within your business.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're driving towards here. And yeah, I think that that's a pretty good bow on a high level of multi-touch revenue attribution. Obviously, we're happy to any attendees that would want to take a deeper dive. We're happy to schedule a separated demonstration for you. But is there any questions? I see that there is one question in the chat, but anything else, Ben, question-wise that you had for me? Otherwise, maybe we can just take a chat question.
No. Let's go ahead and take that chat question right now, Kevin. So we have a question from Renee, and this goes straight to you, Kevin. Would sales teams use HubSpot reporting too, or is it only just for marketers?
Yeah, really good question. And what we've focused on here today is the HubSpot portion that is focused on the marketing side of things. That's definitely the focus, but HubSpot has full scale reporting on the sales side too. So anything that you would be looking for from a sales perspective, I can just give you a high level here. If we look at this analytics tool, you can see that we've got our different marketing reports that can come out of this: traffic analytics, content analytics, things like that, but also sales analytics as well. So the normal things that your sales managers, sales directors would be looking for, that's what you're going to be able to report on here. Didn't have it fully pulled up beforehand, but let's see what we can get out of this. So things like activities completed, you can report on that for your sales team. How many calls did they make? How many emails did they send? Lead response time, when a lead does go from being more of a marketing lead to then becoming a sales qualified lead, how long is it taking for that sales rep to get back? How long are deals staying in the same deal stage? And really a whole lot more when you're talking about the funnel activity. So yeah, you can do a ton of sales reporting. Definitely wouldn't be able to get to all of it. Maybe a future webinar for us, Ben.
Yeah, that is good. The sales analytics tools on HubSpot is something that definitely deserves its own webinar, that's for sure too. Awesome. We've got another question coming in from Jim. So Jim asks, I may have missed this, but do you have a recommendation on which reports to build first if I'm new to HubSpot? So Kevin, I've got some ideas too. I think definitely campaign-based reporting as you're starting off in HubSpot too, to get that groundwork in place for you to so the thing about all marketing automation tools and the way they're built, you're familiar with this, Kevin, is there's quote unquote like a right way to do it, right? As you develop the software, things that you want as a software developer, people to take advantage of. So one of those first and foremost is going to be HubSpot campaign-based reporting, right? Because if you create all of these landing pages and emails and ads, et cetera, you want to bucket them together so that you can assign a dollar value to those activities. So I would definitely start there and get that flow in place of creating those campaigns and campaign-based reporting. What would you do, Kevin?
Yeah, I totally agree with that side of it. If you start building a bunch of assets within HubSpot and you're not attributing them to a campaign right off the bat, it's hard to go and gather that back months and years down the line and try to get that all ironed out. So I definitely agree with that. I would say just go with the stuff that's out of the box to start. Don't kill yourself in trying to create custom reports. It's easy to do, but there's a lot that comes right out of the box when I showed you those analytics tools. And it's going to come down to what specifically your goals are for HubSpot. But you can see that there's a ton, again, that comes right out of the box here. If you're looking at just getting information of how are we driving website visitors, just go look at the traffic analytics report. It's going to have everything that you need right there, and take a look at where the sources are coming from. All of those sales reports, they're out of the box. So it depends on where you're coming from with that question, but I would say starting in the pre-made analytics tools, that's going to be your best place.
Yeah, and I can tell you as a marketer, jumping into a tool like HubSpot, HubSpot does a really great job, not only with the fact that they have these pre-made reports, but the way that they describe them and the way that they answer the question in like little blurbs of them, they'll say, hey, if you have this question, here's a pre-built report for you that already answers all of those questions. Having that type of mindset, and theoretically another marketer, right, explain that to you and have those pre-built reports is really, really valuable. And it saves me as well, frankly, a ton of time instead of having to build it manually from scratch. Awesome. Well, Kevin, I think we're wrapping close to time. So yep. I'd like to thank everybody for joining, and a special thank you, Kevin Dice, to featuring with us on this webinar, and also offering that kick-ass ebook at the end of this. So appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure to join. And yeah, hopefully everybody got something good out of it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining once again, and have a good day. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.